And I always laugh when I say when I did my MBA, the examples we used to use for case studies was Boeing and Airbus. And I'm like, where will I ever find an aeroplane in my life? You know, so here, so it was really just even unpacking it into a language that people like me can understand, into a context that is relevant to our context, so that this theory is practically applied into that. We did Tasker Project Fame. And that was also a big defining career moment for me, because first, I mean, I remember I loved, you know, it was like, if you think about the world we are in now when it comes to content, that was content marketing then, you know, and that was, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. And actually, you know, a brand being able to create impact. That's when I started understanding, oh, this thing of brand building is not just about selling products, or selling products is the outcome.
A big hello to our lovely community. We are happy to be back for season 2. I would like to officially welcome you to the Better You Show. I hope you have been kind to yourself and you're becoming better day by day. We are happy to begin another season of conversations that are designed to equip you to become better in leadership, to become better in wealth creation, to become better in your health, and to become better in your entrepreneurship. Today, we're exploring a subject that influences every individual, every organization, every business, and every engagement that we partake out there in the marketplace. And that subject is called branding. And today, our guest she has dedicated her time, she has invested her time here at the studio, and truly she has also dedicated more than 2 decades of her time in helping organizations to build their brands. Carolyne Kendi, welcome to the Better You Show.
Thank you, thank you.
Such a pleasure to have you.
I know, I'm really excited to be here.
Exactly, thank you so much. Carolyne Kendi, I just want to introduce her so that you understand the kind of expert we have here at the show, so that you're able to get yourself a pen and a paper so that you can be able to learn all matters to do with branding, right? Her name is Carolyne Kendi. She's the founder and chief executive officer of CK Marketing Coaching. She's the author of this Brand Brilliance Framework, such an amazing book. We are also going to discuss this in part B of our discussion today. She's also an accomplished brand strategist, commercial leader, and executive coach committed to unlocking the growth of potential African businesses through world-class brand building. We really would want also to just mention a little bit of where she has invested her experience before, and she has offered a service in most respected organizations in Kenya and beyond, and that is Unilever, Safaricom, and ABSA, where she led these brands into their marketing space, the commercial transformation across telecommunications and financial services. Through her career, she has launched category-defining products, and she has strengthened iconic brands. So I'm sure you know these brands. So you can imagine you're seated somewhere, you're listening to us. Your brand can also be strengthened today. Now, through her, she took a transition and she started her own company. It's called CK Marketing Coaching. And she usually partners with founders, with CEOs and leadership teams, and she helped them to build stronger brand systems. She remains driven by one compelling vision, and which is to see homegrown African brands become globally competitive while creating lasting value for the communities they serve. I really know that, and I trust her that even for my company, she's going to take it to, to Africa, to be known in the African space. Yeah, you're such a resource for us today. Now, welcome to the Better You Show.
Thank you. I thank you for your kind introduction.
Oh wow, thank you so much. Is there anything I've left?
No, I'm saying, oh wow. Thank you so much. and it's an honor to be here.
Wow, welcome. It's such a we are really happy to have your presence here, your expertise, your knowledge, because it's going to help, even if it's just one person. That is a transformed company. That is a transformed individual. All right. So usually at the Better You Show, we have 2 traditions before now we get into the heavy subject that we have today. We start with the word of the day, and also we'll have a little bit of fun in the studio. Yeah. And I know you're ready.
I'm ready for fun.
You're ready for fun.
100%.
Absolutely. So the word of the day today comes from the big book of Matthew chapter 5 verse 16, which says, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." So as I reflected in today's conversation, actually this scripture came to mind when in regards to the topic that you're having today about branding, because branding is not just about creating images or logos. It's really about allowing your value, your purpose to be visible there, to be a light to the marketplace and also to individuals. Yeah, and in front of you, Caroline, you have a paper. It's a tongue twister time. So I'm going to give you just 2 seconds. You go through the text on the paper. And then this is how you're going to do it. You're going to read it out as fast as possible 3 times. It's just for fun, really. Don't overthink about it. And you can just read it out, but as fast as you can.
All right.
And then we'll call you an English teacher after we are done.
Fantastic. I'm very is there a prize?
Yes.
I'm very competitive. Okay. 3 times.
Yes.
So bold brand builders build better brands because better brands bring better business.
Faster, you're being safe. You're playing safe with us, Caroline.
Okay. Bold brands builders build better brands because better brands bring better business.
How was it? And what do you get from that text, by the way?
I really like the idea that better brands bring bigger business, because that's actually what brand building is about. It's really about growing your business, elevating your business, bringing growth.
Yeah.
So I love that part of the tongue twister, which I never got right.
It's part of it.
But better brands bring bigger business. I think that's spot on.
Okay, I wanted to ask you a question in regards to that, but first of all, let us first get to know who is this Kendi. You know, before you started your own company, before even you wrote this book, I just wanted you to share with us about your childhood, your early life, and maybe just 1 or 2 things that really has shaped who you are, your character and your drive. Yeah.
So I am. I'm a last born in a family. I have 2 older brothers. My mom is a single mom. My dad passed on when I was really young, and I think actually that's probably one of the things that has shaped me. So my dad died when all of us were really young. I was 5 months old. So my life has always been a bit different. You know, you grow up in a family and you're like, we're different from other families, more or less.
Yeah.
But I went to school. I was in public school. Throughout my schooling, I went to Kilimani Primary School, which was right next to where we lived. I went to the Kenya High School.
Yeah, the famous one.
And I went to the University of Nairobi. So went through the public school system and really fundamentally learned a lot of what I know about this, these markets. And that's why I believe I'm an African homegrown brand builder, because I have been in this market. I've been a consumer. I've done all that. So that was my school, and then I started my career about 24 years ago. So what's my early life? What shaped me? I think one is, I guess, because I grew up in a family that was a bit different, right? I am okay to be different. And I think that is what has brought me into this path. I'm always looking for, status quo, challenging status quo, changing status, making things better. I think that has influenced a lot of who I am today and my leadership. And I think also I grew up in a family. I have 2 older brothers, so you know, it was, you had to, as a girl,
the only girl in the
as
family.
the only girl, you had to keep up.
Yeah,
you had to, you know how boys can be, especially when we're growing up.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of my drive, a lot of my ambition, a lot of my go-getter, you know, I never used to allow to be left. You know, what they were doing, you know, I was always in there. I think that has helped me a lot in, you know, building, you know, resilience, ambition, and, you know, go-getting.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to understand, like, because I've heard that you mentioned your dad passed on. So how did that affect you, either just as an individual, you know, and also in your career? Do you see anything that really stood out from that?
I think one is, and I mean, I think I'm lucky and I'm blessed. Is I grew up with a community. Yeah. Right. Thankfully, because of that vacuum, I have grown up. You know, my name Kendi means loved one. Oh. And I actually feel like I have grown up with a lot of love. A lot of my family, my extended family, as a nuclear family, we're very close, right? And we kind of learn how to just stick together from very early. But then I actually feel like I've grown up with a lot of care, a lot of love from my, you know, one of my biggest role models is my grandfather, who passed on when he was 103. You know, but he was, you know, constantly there. My grandparents. So I've grown up with a lot of family, and understanding that this whole idea, and I'm big on it as myself, on community. I really believe it takes a village. You know, I'm a product of it takes a village. Oh, amazing! Thank you for sharing that.
Now, let's talk about the topic today. And before we get into that deeper discussion, I think it's important for us to understand, or you expound to us on the meaning of some terms that we know falls under marketing or branding. So what do you, please help us understand, what is a brand, what is branding, what is marketing or advertising? Is it the same thing? And is it the same thing to an individual? Is it the same thing to businesses? Like, please just...
No, I think that's a really good question. And no, they're not the same thing, but they are related and they complement each other. And the other one, even to add on to that, is even sales and selling. Because I think ultimately, you know, somewhere in there, I think that's where people sometimes get confused. And actually, why I wrote this book, why I'm doing what I do, is actually to help simplify, right, and make it easier for people to understand what all these things mean. So I think the first thing is brand, or why you need to build a brand is really asking, do people trust you, right? Do you understand the problem people are having, or your problem you're trying to solve? So from a customer perspective, do you understand my problem, and can I trust you to be the one to solve it? That's brand.
That's brand. It's a trust.
It's about trust. It's about building trust. Then now marketing is now, how do I get to know that you are the one? How do I, because it's about building demand, creating demand, building desire. So your marketing, so once you've determined and said, I've understood this is a problem that I need to solve, then marketing is a process of people getting to know about that service and or that product that you do, and in a way that actually gets them to be like, oh wow, these people actually have the solution to my problem. And then sales is now where you close, right? Because you can always tell people, you cannot get a sale if people don't know you, and they don't know you about you in a way that is meaningful.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's the relationship between. So and then the brand is now why I trust that you'll do it, right? Because there's so many people every day telling people what they can do for them, right? And claiming. So the thing that why you need to build a brand is because now that's the trust, right? Because trust compounds. And if I trust you, so I trust what you can do. I get to know about you. So I'm like, okay, I'm interested. That's a brand for for people like me. Then I buy you, right? Then I experience you. That's where customer experience and brand experience come. So I try you, and then will I come back and use you again? That's where loyalty is. So if something in this chain is broken, right, then that affects your brand. That affects your trust. All right. You mentioned something there which is about trust. I'm just wondering, for example, for personal brands, how do you build that trust?
And if it's for people who are entrepreneurs, they have businesses, then how can they build that trust so that their consumers can be able to say, okay, yes, that's a brand that I trust. Then they can now go through the entire cycle of the trust, the marketing, and them now buying from that brand. So how do you develop that?
I think that's a really good question. I think first for personal branding, first you need to understand, and I always say for personal branding, it starts with you, self-awareness, right?
Yes.
Who are you and what are you about? What are your strengths? You know, before even we start talking about anything, you have to be very clear about yourself and what you offer, what your strengths are, what makes you unique.
Yeah.
Then you have to have a good understanding of who your customers are, who are your stakeholders. And this could be, if you're in a company, your boss is that's your customer of your personal brand.
Wow.
Your colleagues are your customers of your personal brand.
Wow.
You know, if you're in business, your clients are the people. So you have to understand, what is it that those people want, right?
Yeah.
What are my strengths? And then now how do you package that into, now this is who I am. So a very good example, sometimes people think personal branding means you have 29,000 followers on TikTok. No, or LinkedIn. That's not the point. The point is, because when you understand yourself and understand what they need from you,
yes,
then now that's your promise. Right? So when you're getting hired into a job, you say, I'm gonna deliver because that's your promise, right? Your CV is your brand promise.
Yes.
Right? But how do you get them to trust you is, what is the consistency of the promise and their experience, right?
Yes.
I think for me, the biggest thing you see with personal brands where people fail is you have an amazing promise. You say, I'm a hard worker, you know, I go over and beyond, I work under pressure. The moment the pressure comes, you crumble and you're like, now the experience is different. That's why that's why your personal brand, there's no, you build a reputation of inconsistency.
Yes.
Right? Yet maybe you just say, actually, me, I don't like pressure. Right? Because sometimes people say these things, I don't like pressure and I like to be organized and I like things to work in a certain way.
Yeah.
Then now you deliver and you're consistent in that space.
Yeah.
That's how people trust you. Right? So the biggest challenge when it comes to trust, even at a personal level, but even at a business level, is the inconsistency between your promise. First, most people don't even start with understanding what is it that people want.
Yes.
Yeah, you're just there with your product and telling people that this is what my product will do for you. Do I even want it? So understand what people want, then articulate that into a promise that makes sense to them in a way that speaks to what they need, and then translate that into an experience that validates that. And once you do that, that's how you kind of get trust.
Wow. Actually, thank you for sharing that part for the for career people, because as you're explaining, I'm like, how many people actually know that when you are when you're in for an interview, it's your promise. Yeah, and you're going to be, your how you show up is going to be tied to that, and that one now will determine if you'll be trusted or not, and that is your brand.
100%.
Wow.
And that's why you have in companies, because I was obviously incorporated in many companies over my career. That's why you have now within companies, there are brands of top performers. You know, the bell curve.
Yes.
There's people who are who are low performers. That's a brand.
Yes.
Because you're inconsistent in delivering on your promise. Yeah, because also when you have your performance plan, you say, yes, you're going to pay me every month for this, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to deliver.
Yes.
Now, if you're inconsistent in that promise, that's how you get labeled either as a low performer, or there's the people who are, you know, on average, and then there's the top performers who get all the bonuses, who get all the who get all the promotions. Yeah. So it's really about that and understanding how that makes sense and how aligned to your personal strengths and what you need and what your purpose, your strengths. Self-awareness is really at the core of personal branding.
And I'm thinking even on the trust part, you can actually grow it to a higher level than what you promised, right?
100%.
You can.
And that's how you build a reputation. Right? Consistently. Because that's what what happens is, and the beauty of trust, and I like talking about brand and trust, is that you have, you actually have when you're consistent, right? When you're consistently and you have a reputation, actually what happens is, and I like the analogy of it's like a bank account, right? And you've deposited and deposited and deposited. You know, we understand compounding when it comes to money, but actually trust also compounds. And when you have fill the bank account with trust. We live in a world where things fall apart, right? People make mistakes. You know, systems for brands and businesses don't always work as possible. But if you have built enough trust, then even when that issue happens, everything doesn't fall apart, right? People who, when you make a mistake, people are able to give you a second chance.
Yeah.
You know, people give you time. So that's actually the most important thing about building a brand, because it's sustainable. Because in a world where things are unpredictable, even when that thing happens, you're able to still at least be able to keep your customers or keep people trusting you, because they'll be like, you know, I know her.
Yeah.
This is an anomaly.
That's unlike her.
This is unlike her. I'll give her another chance.
Okay.
But if you've been inconsistent, the moment that thing happens, they're like, here they go.
To happen.
Exactly.
We're just waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that. Yeah. Now, you have worked in, big African, big brands, the ones that I've mentioned, Safaricom and also ABSA. So my question is, when you look back, because you've already transitioned into your own business, but when you look back, do you have a defining project, or a campaign that really defined your career, and you're like, this is what people who are in this space of marketing should actually pay attention to if you want to scale up to the next level?
Wow, is it one defining thing? I don't know if it's one thing, but I can tell you a couple of things. One is, as I said, when I started my career, I started at Unilever. Unilever had this amazing program, which was a management trainee program. And I think the first thing, the beauty about management trainee programs, and I think HR people, we need to go back to management trainee programs, is you started your career with a narrative, and they told us that you're going to be the leader of this company one day. You know, and it's a whole program built around building your leadership, building your aptitude around that. And I really think that, and if I look at all of us who are around that time and were trainees, we're all leaders in some form, different organizations, but because you knew, I'm going to be the leader of this, and it was this company. So I think there's something important with that journey. And then for me, it was because I was in the commercial business. The first thing I did was learn how to sell. I was given a pickup and sent to Kericho, and I sold in that pickup, and I learned, my commercial understanding of how business runs, who your customer is. Your customer is not this person here sitting in Lavington. No. The mass of the customer is that person who you're going to sell to. That time I sell Reiko 15 gram. I remember it was like it was like the smallest SKU. And that's who you needed to sell to. So a lot of that experience, I think, built my commercial and understanding business. And then now the marketing side and the brand building side was understanding the human side. To understand, for you to make that sale, you have to understand the people. So I think that was one defining moment, and a lot of that set me up in my career. The other one I can talk about was EABL Diageo. And I like to make this joke of my mom, and my mom was like, when I left now to selling soap and soap, selling Omo and Blue Band.
Yes.
And I went to sell alcohol. She's like, why? And I went to be the brand manager of Tusker.
Why, my daughter, why?
Why? She's like, she couldn't understand. She's like, how is this and I'm like, it's a better job. She's like, why? We did Tusker Project Fame. And that was also a big defining career moment for me, because first, I remember I loved, it was like, if you think about the world we are in now when it comes to content, that was content marketing then, and that was, 10, 15 years ago. And actually, a brand being able to create impact. That's when I started understanding, this thing of brand building is not just about selling products, or selling products is the outcome. But it's really about connecting with people. And I remember that time it was really about how can we as a brand, Tusker, that time, connect with younger people. That's why we needed to be in reality music, reality TV, music, elevating people. So that whole understanding of actually, as a brand, you have to think of a brand as a person, and you have to connect. It has to be more than just transactional. That was the next defining moment, and Tusker Project Fame was everything. Then as far as my mom is concerned, she prayed me out of that job. I went back to Unilever. And then later in my career, I went to Safaricom, and Safaricom was also now a local brand. So I think for me, a lot of what I'm doing now, the seed was planted when I was like, if we have a brand, and that's why I love Safaricom so much as a brand, it's such a good testament that we can actually have we have brilliance because a lot of my career, if you think of Diageo, if you think of EABL, all those brands were built by other people, not by Africans. But when you look at a brand like Safaricom, this is a brand that is, things like M-Pesa are case studies of best practice from Africa to the world, right? And that was also for me a big part of understanding that actually this is possible, and actually we need more brands. I have this, my passion is the next generation of multinationals. The way we all grew up on brands from outside here, I really believe that the brands, at least for the next generation, will be African brands that we are sending to the rest of Africa and to the world, and that's a lot is what I think we should be doing.
Wow, that's so amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Those I know you could have just continued giving us more, because you've been in that space for quite a while, and now you're an expert. So Kendi, what we're going to do, we're going to take a break, our audience, and once we come back, we are going to discuss this book, the Brand Brilliance Framework. Let's take a short break. Welcome back to the Better You Show. My name is Sianto Kekayaya, your lovely host, and we also have our lovely guest here. Her name is Carolyne Kendi, and we have been discussing matters to do with branding, and now we understand what it means when you say that this is a brand, this is advertising, this is marketing, and so forth. Now, Kendi, I want you to tell us, because you have been in that corporate space for many years, and now you have transitioned to your own business. That's a very bold decision you made right there. And I just wanted to know, was there a gap that you saw, for example, in the marketplace that pushed you or inspired you to go out there and just start off the CK marketing coaching company?
Yes. So very good question. So when I was in corporate for a long time, and when I said earlier, when I started my career, we were trained, right? There was a lot of capability building on the craft. And what I realized, especially when the digital transformation happened about 10, 15 years ago, a lot of the training now moved into understanding this digital world, right? And we all got caught up in trying to understand what are algorithms, and I believe that the core fundamentals on still understanding what is this craft of understanding your customer, understanding how to leverage your brand for growth. None of that training was really happening.
Okay.
And then when I looked around again in the continent, a lot of the training anyway that does exist is done by other people. It's always, again, other people. And I thought, I have been building brands for about 20 years. I have so many other people who I know who've been building them for 50 years, 60 years.
Yeah.
And I'm a really believer in us telling our own stories. So that's when I was like, let me try this. It was one of those, it was extremely uncomfortable. I cannot lie. It's not like it was like, the easiest thing. It was a difficult decision, and really about, and I keep telling everybody it's faith. You have to really believe, and it's a step of faith.
Yeah.
And I felt like the discomfort was like, let me just go give it a shot. Let me try. I have this idea of what I want to do.
Yeah.
Let me put it out there. And then see how that works. So that was it. That was my journey. So it's really about building capability and enabling African brands. As I said, I really believe, there's an interesting statistic that I saw where they say I think 80 to 90% of new businesses fail within the first 5 years.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's true.
And if you're thinking about how businesses and entrepreneurs are the engine for growth, if you talk about all these things we say about increasing opportunities and reducing poverty and all those things.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is a big, because it's businesses. Because once you have a business that's sustainable, you create jobs for people, you employ people. You're actually adding value and creating value across the system. So then I thought, if I can be part of having people, and for all the businesses that I've worked for, I've seen how brand is such a big lever and driver for growth, right? Because it is a customer at the end of that, it's a human being at the end of that decision.
Yes.
Whether you're a business, B2B, right? That person, it's a human being at the end of that decision of who's going to decide whether they're going to give you that LP or that check or not.
Yeah.
Or if you're selling a product, it is a human being. So how can we spend time understanding these people and understanding these human beings? And the process of brand building is understanding how people think, understanding how they feel in relation to your product and to your category, and then finding a way to influence that so that you can influence what they do, which means choose you. So Yeah, so that was actually when I was like, you know what, let's try. I think, and I think as Africans and as Kenyans, as Africans, we're the people with the solution. We understand ourselves better.
Yeah.
So how can I be part of getting people to understand? And it's a science. It's a step. It's not. It's a step by step. There's a science to it. There's a science and the art.
Yeah.
Right. The art is what we see, the advertising there, whatever. But there's the science, the logic, or the building blocks that gets you to make sure that whatever you do is efficient, so it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
So with the money that you have, and then it's effective. It actually gets and delivers the job that you want, which is actually for that person to choose you versus your competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to tie in a question to what you've shared. You've worked with these big brands, and there must be something or non-negotiables that you have seen when it comes to marketing in those companies, that these three key and non-negotiable, and that is what has differentiated them in the market. So that I'm sure we have a lot of our audience are business people, they're building companies. So that if you could just share with them that these three I have seen working in these big companies, that if you can actually use them as a blueprint, then at least you are somewhere when it comes to marketing.
I think one is they always start with the customer in mind. And I mean, every brand I've worked on that has been successful is actually being very clear about what the customer needs and what is it that the business is able to deliver credibly and consistently in relation to what the customer needs.
Yes.
Right? So I think number one is the customer.
Customer.
That whole thing of customer is king, and it's true.
And
right?
Customer is always right.
Yes, but also being and it's not a fixed position, right? It's growing with the customer. So you have to be close with your customer. You have to understand what is it that your customer is feeling now, thinking, feeling, doing now.
Yes.
What's happening. I mean, if you think about even what's going on with digital, it's really understanding, okay, so it's not really about digital for the sake of digital, but it's because if people are consuming content digitally, then I as a brand need to be there because you're going where your customers are.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's that really having the customer at the and understanding behavioral psychology, understanding customer behavior, and being able to understand what is it that drives people to do what they do.
Okay.
That's number one. Two is being very, very pedantic in making sure that understanding of the customer is what defines how your product is designed. What is it? What are you? Therefore, you don't create the product and then try and force fit it to the customer. It's you have your customer and understanding this is the problem, this is what we're trying to solve for, and then now designing your product, your pricing, all the P's we usually talk about.
Yeah.
Right. Your promotion, your messaging, everything comes from that. So making sure that your brand and your understanding of the customer is integrated, right? And making sure that everything starts from understand your customer and then everything else hangs on to that.
Okay.
So I think that's number two. Number three is measurement.
Yeah. Right? What do you mean by measurement?
You can't grow what you can't measure.
So
even as you're building this whole system, you have to understand, so how do I know that this person has understood what I'm saying or likes our product, right? So there's a lot of making sure we have data and data-driven decision making upfront, right? So one of the biggest things I always say is start with being clear. What are your objectives? What does success look like? What's the picture of success?
Yeah.
Upfront. Then you're able to measure, and there's lead and lag measures, right? So there's the things that are at the end. So the lag measure I always say is your revenue.
Yeah.
If you sold. But what are the lead measures, right? What are the things that you're able to show that, we are moving and tracking towards that direction or not?
Yeah.
I think if I can stack, those are the three things that I can tell you any successful business in the space of brand building always does to make sure that they are sustainable. They are connecting and they're sustainable over time.
Amazing. That's a masterclass right there. That's a masterclass right there. Now let's discuss this book. I really love it. The Brand Brilliance Framework.
Yes.
The 7 steps to building brilliant brands that elevate your business. Now, maybe you could just share with us what was the inspiration behind writing this book, and did you face any challenges at some point? Did you feel like should I really should I really be an author, or maybe it's just in my mind? Like how was the experience?
So I think first I love to read.
Okay.
And I have books. In fact, the other day I was just laughing. I have books everywhere. Everywhere around me, I always have a book. So I think the first thing was I wanted to, and I've told you, there's this problem which I see, and I'm like, there's something I can do about it.
Wow.
But then I was like, actually, a book would be an interesting way of simplifying it and packaging everything into something that somebody can understand. Because sometimes when you're trying to be, in fact, I think you were saying earlier, where like this marketing thing is so theoretical and it's so like,
true.
you know.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing was I thought a book would be an interesting way of just putting everything together and really simplifying it in a language that people like me can understand.
Yeah.
So when I look at most of even the examples, if you see the examples I have in the book, are brands we understand locally. I always laugh when I say when I did my MBA, the examples we used to use for case studies was Boeing and Airbus, and I'm like, where will I ever find an aeroplane in my life? You know. So here, it was really just even unpacking it into a language that people like me can understand, into a context that is relevant to our context, so that this theory is practically applied into that. So I think that's one. Two, was it scary? 100%.
Okay.
In fact, when I started, I said, okay, I met this guy, and he was like, yeah, you know, that book would be a good idea. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll do a book. And then, of course, after I started, I'm like, who are you, Kendi? Imposter syndrome. Who do you think you are? You know, I'm looking at John Maxwell and all these people, and I'm like, those are the people who have permission to write books.
Yeah.
But then I just, you know, I was like, you know what? You know, I think my passion around hearing more African voices, us talking about our own stories and showcasing our successful brands, because actually a lot of the brands that I've put here are homegrown brands, you know, brands like Java, brands like Vivo, brands like Safaricom. I talked about Safaricom. And all these are brands that are local and are Kenyan and are African and are actually operating at the world-class standards as the Nikes and the Apples and the things that we know. So that passion is actually what got me to get over my imposter syndrome and said, let me just put my voice out there. I really believe everybody has a book in them, and everyone should be speaking. We need to more of our own voices speaking and telling our stories. And so that's how I ended up here.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is such a resource, a lot of knowledge that really the viewers can be able to benefit from when it comes to matters to do with marketing. Now, I'm seeing this, there's this page, and it talks about Brand Brilliance Framework, and I'm seeing there are 7 steps.
Yes.
Okay. Probably you could take us through them, like for example, step 1, it talks about purpose. Define your reason for being. How is that related? How does it connect to how to market your product or your services?
So I think when I studied marketing, right, there was Philip Kotler, the 4 Ps of marketing, and after going through my career, I realized, especially for brands in Africa and for businesses, for brands that do well in Africa, there's a little bit more that you need, and that's why I have 7 Ps. So these are 7 steps, and there's the 7 Ps. And when you talk about purpose, I'll talk about brands again that I admire, African-grown brands. Safaricom, we've talked about Safaricom. Safaricom has a very strong purpose around transforming lives. You know, when you talk about Blue Band, I worked on a Blue Band. Blue Band's one of my favorite brands. It's also in the book. Blue Band's the purpose was really about growing great kids. Right, and enabling moms to grow great kids. So when I looked at all the brands that I've worked on, it was really at the fundamental was you have to exist for more than just about money. Right, because that, again, and I call it in the book, I call it the soul of every brand. Right, you have to have a soul, because again, actually, at the end of that purchase decision is a human being, and human beings connect at that level.
I get it.
So it's really about starting from understanding why are you doing what you're doing. Because again, that why is the thing that differentiates you from the next person who's doing the exact same thing that you're doing. Right? So if your purpose for doing the Better You show, even if somebody else is doing a show like this, is completely different. So that is what starts this process of differentiating, because that's what brand building is about, right? And the differentiating is not just extrinsic, it starts at an intrinsic level. So you start with, why are you doing this, right? And then understand then why does that matter to your target customer and the person you're targeting? Because at the end of the day, human beings, I always say we are both rational and irrational, right?
Yeah.
We have a very logical way of
Yeah.
making decisions, but at the core of it, it's just I feel, you know? That's why we talk about understanding think, feel, do. So there's the think logical, right? You know, I want to learn about, you know, how to be better. But feel, what does that feel? There's usually that feeling that somebody is, either it's a feeling of discomfort,
Yeah.
either it's a feeling of frustration. And if you understand that feeling well, then now your solution, right? Whether it's a product, whether it's a service, your solution, then the job to be done is to resolve that emotion.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
And that's where now step 3 comes in, which is now your positioning. And that's now the promise that I make to you. Because I say, you know, my promise is never going to be logical only, right? To be logical, and then therefore,
feeling.
when you sort out that logic, then I feel peace of mind. I feel confident. I feel, you know, when you talk about Safaricom and transforming lives, right?
Yeah.
That promise of transforming lives, they understand how technology is an enabler for transforming lives. Therefore, that's why the promise of whatever M-Pesa, we can use M-Pesa.
Yeah.
Therefore, now, you know, when we started M-Pesa, when M-Pesa was launched, I don't know, 15 years ago, the promise was sending money home. Yeah, we enable you. It wasn't about there's an SMS that you would get with money, and no, it was about, and they understood Kenyans. Everybody has something happening in Ushago. Either it's a project, either you have family, you have something, and this whole thing of sending money home was such a difficult thing. So M-Pesa's promise. So they understood Safaricom is about transforming lives.
Yeah.
They understood there's this thing that people want where they're sending money home, and it's a problem.
Yeah.
Right? It's functionally very difficult. And emotionally, it's stressful because it's getting lost. I remember those days you say, put it in a wepesi. Do you understand wepesi? And you put it in a bus, and they're going to get lost. And therefore, the promise that Safaricom would be like, we are the brand that's going to enable you to be able to save money home, leaving you feeling safe, feeling secure, and your money will get there.
Okay.
That's now, for me, that's 3.
Okay.
Then now, coming out of that, then you say, okay, so now, how? Once I've made that promise, people are like, okay, you've created the desire, right? I want you to help me send my money. That's when now you think about, so how do we do it? Yeah, and the second part is now what we call in the commercial engine.
Yeah.
So your path to market.
Path to market.
What's your price? How are you going to do it? Is it something that I can afford? Is it going to be there when I need it? Yeah, what is the size of the package? Is it 10 kg or is it, you know? So that's where now all those things come in. That's what you think about when you're doing your path to market. And then presence, then showing up.
Yeah.
Where are you? Where do I find you? How do I see you? You know, if I want to know about you, where do I look? You know? So this physical presence. So you'll find that's why you'll find some brands have branches in different places because that's presence. We are physically present here. We are part of this community. Your website, your social media presence, those are online presence.
Yeah.
So that's the other P. And only when all those fundamentals are in place is when now we do the promotion. And here's what I call perception.
The perception part.
Yeah, perception is now the P that we all know as promotion, which is now the marketing that everybody thinks that that's all marketing is. But you can see there's a lot that happens beneath the iceberg.
Yes.
And you know how an iceberg is, right? There's the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is what you start to see around step number 5 and 6. But beneath it, all these other steps and all these other things have to be there. And after you do now whatever your presence, and really your perception is really how are you influencing what people think and feel about you, right? That's what your messaging would be, what your logo would look like, all that stuff. Then you have to have a system that measures, which is now the last P, which is performance. So basically, that's the whole idea of how the pyramid works. It's really about one step that leads to another, that leads to another. And the way this book is written and the whole idea is it just helps you, sparks thinking, a different way of thinking for you to be like, okay, if I'm about transforming lives, or if I'm about, you know, for me, my purpose is really about enabling African businesses to be profitable and to make money. How does that affect then how my course is designed? How does that affect how my book is written? How does that affect, you know, everything? And that becomes now the thing that actually makes sure it's a system, right? It's a system of building trust. And once that consistency is there, then people start to trust you because now things start to hang, everything is kind of working together. Yeah.
Wow, okay, that's very interesting. And as you are just sharing, like for example, most individuals, they would first have a product, then immediately they go to step 6, perception, to market that product, right? So my question is then, how are you able to to ascertain as an expert, as a marketing expert, that yes, this is a product, but I can see step 1 and 2, they didn't happen. Are you able to know?
So the biggest sign is you're not selling.
Oh,
okay. That's, and that's what I was saying, that's how you know, and that's the whole point. Because remember here we're saying the reason we're doing this is to make sure that we are optimized, we're growing.
Yeah.
So the first thing you have to ask yourself is, I want to grow, or maybe you want to grow by 20%, you're only growing by 5%, right? That's where now the opportunity is.
Yes.
You see, so the first signal, if I was talking to you, I'd say, okay, fine, what's your ambition? Okay, I want to grow by 20%, and I'm only at 5%. Okay, let's go back and say, let's understand your product. In the design of this product, or have you really solved for a problem for the customer in a way that is different from everybody else? Yes, no. Yeah, and different doesn't mean your product has to be uniquely different, but I said it's a positioning of that says, actually, the way that we are solving this problem for you is unique in that way, in the best way for you. So at the end of the day, as a person, I would ask you now, your product, are you solving? And are you solving? Yes. Okay, so actually I have a great product, right? My product is actually fantastic and people need it.
Yeah.
So then we'll go now to the next step and say, why don't they, is that they don't know? Right? Is it the way, one of the big things in communication and expression, I always ask people, is you need to have what I call benefit-led communication. Yeah, one of the biggest mistakes I see is people, you have a great product and then you just tell people about your product. I don't care about your product. I want to know, what does your product do for me?
Yeah.
Right? So if you're saying my product this is the benefit, so you have to think about it and say, this product, these are the features. Yeah? There's technology is very good at people of tech. They're like, this will do for you 1, 2, 3, fine. But what does it do for me? Is it going to save me time?
Yeah.
Is it going to help me connect with my family better?
Yeah.
Is it going to help me? So once you articulate yourself, then people will be like, oh. So that's what now the job of positioning is. And do it in a way that is different.
Yeah.
Right? So once you articulate and say, okay, this is actually what makes us different from everybody else, then now we can start all the other stuff which is going to market. Now, how do we take you? How do we get to you where you are? So that would be my first thing. Would be, are you if you're making your money and you're selling, then you're good.
Then
then
you've probably feeling you've connected to.
Yes, and you've probably done it.
Yeah. Wow, amazing. Now, there's this chapter on the chapter 2, and you've really mentioned a lot about people, the heartbeat of every brand. So people are the heartbeat of every brand. So your customers, your consumers, and not the owner of the business as a main player. So, and it says, numbers tell you what happened, people tell you why. This is a quote by Nancy Duart. Could you share? It's very powerful. Eh?
Yeah, and I think when you understand your business from the perspective of people, and that I think is the biggest difference between a great brand and a brand that delivers and one that doesn't, is understanding and being able to understand first. And when you look at data and we talk about data-driven whatever decision making, there's quantitative data and there's qualitative data.
Yes.
Right, and talking to people, I think there's two ways. There's two ways you can, and it's really about understand. So we talk about you need to understand your customer. How do I understand your customer?
Yeah.
One is you can just talk to people.
Wow.
Right? Sit with people and ask, what do you think about this problem? What do you think about this? What do you think about my business? Right? And that is what we call qualitative. And qualitative means I'll be like, I don't like that product. Why?
They tell you why.
They say, I don't believe in marketing. So I can tell people who tell me, marketing is a waste of money. I say, okay, tell me why. Why? Because I did marketing and it didn't work. Okay. Why do you think it didn't work? Right? So you really start to understand, and that's how you kind of get to understand what the real core solution you're looking for, you're able to provide is. Also, you're able to determine, this is not my customer, because also not everybody is your customer.
Yeah.
Right? So when you talk about that, is actually deciding and saying, actually, for this person, there's actually a problem here that I can solve credibly. Yeah. Some people who will be like, I don't have, and it's okay. Number one, because then you're able to be more targeted. That's when now you hear about targeting. Then a quantitative is now quantifying that opportunity, because you might find that that person who thinks marketing doesn't work, they're only one. in a sea of 100 people, out of 100, one person doesn't think, 90%, 99 think.
Yeah.
So that's a huge size of opportunity, right? So quantitative is simple things. These days, again, with technology, it's such a good time to be alive, questionnaires,
There's a lot
asking yes, no questions. So you're able to quantify the size of that. So I think, why the customer is the heartbeat, because ultimately that's what should be your lighthouse, your direction as to which direction you should go with what you need to do. But you can validate the information either. And it's really about consistently listening to people, talking to them, taking their feedback. Social media is a great channel these days for getting feedback.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure for you and your community as well. A lot of people here tell you, oh, that was a great show.
Yeah.
Or they'll be like, oh, you'll see.
No.
Also the engagement. You'll be able to say, they'll be like, people are not connecting with this content. And that's what you use to say, okay, so what can we do to make this better? Right? So it's really a fuel. And it's really the fuel of knowing what you need to do better. How do you improve? What do you need to do next?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as we come to a close, can you imagine we are already, time is already, it's not on our side. Now, this is a question for you, and we are looking at a legacy of Carolyne Kendi. Okay, of Kendi. So 20 years from now, when people talk about African brands and that you of course all that time you have been featuring there, what do you want them to say has changed? Because Kendi was in the arena of the marketing industry.
Wow, I would love them. So first, by that time, these statistics of 80 to 90% of businesses will be zero.
Wow.
Okay, we're going to have thriving African homegrown businesses that are led by brands.
Fantastic.
What I would like them to say is, after interacting with any of our material, is they got a breakthrough into how to connect better with their customer in a way that actually they were able to influence their perception and their behavior. Right? Because that's what brand building is about. It's about being able to understand how to articulate yourself, position yourself in a way that actually influences somebody who would never consider your product to be like, oh my God, I need to try that product. And actually buying them and buying that product and consistently. So connecting in a way that is actually gets them to influence behavior. Then my job is done.
Amazing. Now, our lovely community, we have a book here. I want you to really talk to them. Use that camera. First of all, tell them how they can get in touch with you, number one, and then number two, how can they get this book? And if you have any program that maybe you'd want them to enroll and learn more about marketing. Talk to them.
Great. Let me read, because I wanted to read this, the preface of the book.
Okay.
Because I think it really articulates why this book and who this book is for. And then I'll tell you how then you can touch it. So in a world of endless noise and shrinking attention spans, every business longs for sustainable growth. Not just spikes in sales, but steady momentum. Not just transactions, but loyalty. Not just visibility, but advocacy. Yet very few truly understand what it takes to achieve this. For growth to be sustainable, a brand must shine. It must stand for something meaningful, not just sell something useful. This is the rhythm of brand brilliance. How to build meaningful connection and growth in a way that feels both human and powerful. That is how the Brand Brilliance Framework was born. It brings together everything I have learned about how brands grow through purpose, people, and performance into a 7-step ladder that any organization can use to move from clarity to connection, relevance to revenue, and purpose to progress. This is not theory. It is a proven roadmap tested across industries and countries, grounded both in global best practice and African ingenuity. My mission is simple. Is to demystify brand building and make it accessible, practical, and powerful for leaders at every stage of growth. This book is written for business leaders, founders, marketers, and visionaries who want to do more than survive in a crowded market. It is for those who want to build enduring brands that elevate people, inspire loyalty, and drive long-lasting business success.
Amazing. How do they find you?
Yes, how do you find me? So we have a couple of, so this is a philosophy, and the Brand Brilliance Framework is a philosophy that we've broken down into. One is the book. So the book, you can get it, if you're an e-reader, you can get it on Amazon. If you like physical books like me, You can get it from our website. So www.ckmarketingcoaching.com. You buy it, we deliver to you anywhere in Nairobi. We'll find the book to you. So that's one. The second way, if you're truly curious and you're like, look, I wanna go deeper with this. I want to get practical application of how this can work to my business.
Yeah.
We have a program which we call a Brand Brilliance Bootcamp. And this is a 5-week program where I online will take you through the principles, but with real local examples, application, and that the next cohort starts on the 1st of August, actually. So if you're interested, again, on the website, there's a way you can register there, go in there, join the bootcamp. And then you can follow us on our socials. We talk about brilliant brands. We showcase different examples. We showcase all the things that we're doing. And you can follow me on LinkedIn as well. I believe all the details are here.
All right. Thank you so much, Carolyne, for investing your time at the Better You Show. And thank you for launching season 2 of the Better You Show. It's we are really happy to have you at our studios. And yes, my viewers, thank you so much for always tuning in. Thank you so much for really connecting with these messages. And they're actually good for you because they're going to help you to become a better version of yourself. They're going to learn more in matters to do with leadership, matters to do with wealth creation, matters to do with entrepreneurship, and so more and so much more that we always plan to bring for you. And this is the part that I ask for a favor, that if you're not subscribed to this community, take just right now as you watch, just click subscribe and join the Better You Show community. As usual, we say take care of yourself and others. See you next time. Thank you.